a great evil has been descending upon our world. An evil which has been growing more and more powerful. Violent jihadism.
Shocking and brutal terrorist acts have provoked an us and them mentality, often embedding the belief that terrorism is a result of freedom-hating values inherent in Islam. I feel that if we intend to combat the problem of radicalization, we need to deal with this reaction. It's holding us back from fully examining the factors that would motivate someone to believe that religion justifies killing people.
In a South London street, a man with bloodied hands, carrying a knife and machete, approaches a camera and tries to justify what has just happened.
This footage was filmed immediately after the murder of Lee Rigby. The man in the footage is his killer, Michael Adebolajo. His justifications for this brutal attack seems very similar to the rhetoric of the 7/7 bombers and other hardline Islamic terrorists. He talks of the injustices against the Arabic people committed by British and American people, calling their lands our land. Adebolajo was born in the UK from a Christian family of Nigerian descent. So what would make him identify so strongly with a different culture that he would kill for them, and when the police arrive, attempt to achieve martyrdom by charging at them with a knife? We know that Michael Adebolajo converted to Islam at the age of 18, and his brother also converted. This would imply that the brothers didn't have a strong connection to their Nigerian heritage, instead forming a bond to the local Islamic community. It also implies a sense of camaraderie, not isolation. However, I don't know if this bond was broken or if it never really existed, but Adebolajo seems to have left it behind. When asked about Adebolajo's affiliations by the BBC, Abu Nusayba, a member of Adebolajo's community, said,
But he was quite an independent guy. He was never stuck to one particular group or anything like that. He would go to various circles, listen to various people and so forth. So he wasn't really kind of like stuck only with, Omar Bakri or Anjem Choudary and so forth. Like he would float about basically.
This implies that Adebolajo was searching for something in Islam which he wasn't finding at his first meetings. It could also have been where he started to get introduced to more radical philosophy. I think Adebolajo's original intentions were a lot less drastic. In the same interview, Nusayba claims that Adebolajo didn't believe we should implement Sharia law in Britain. Instead, he wanted Islamic people to leave Britain and travel to Muslim countries. He trained in English and fitness training courses with the intent to teach abroad, the second of which he completed. In 2010, he travelled to Kenya.
Before Michael Adebolajo in the brown shirt became a suspect in the murder of a British soldier in broad daylight, he was arrested by Kenyan police. This video from 2010 shows him in a Mombasa court along with 8 other people, suspected of trying to train with an Al-Qaeda affiliate in Somalia. He responded to the charges.
These people, they are mistreating us and we are innocent, believe me.
He was deported to the UK shortly afterward.
Now, you describe Michael Adebolajo as, in a way, as a gentle man, the way you're describing him.
Yeah.
The contrast with someone who is capable of murdering someone on British streets is very, very stark indeed.
Definitely.
How do you understand that?
Yeah, I mean, I believe certain events that happened to him recently kind of had an impact in shaping, that change. And although that change wasn't necessarily one that became overt, aggressive or anything like that, he just became more reclined and less talkative and so forth, like he wasn't his bubbly self, basically, And the recent events were, about 6 months ago, he basically just turned up one day, just knocked out of the blue, no number, no anything. And he said that, look, basically what's happened, I went to study in Kenya. And, when I got to Kenya, in a particular village, we were rounded up by Kenyan troops, basically. And we were taken to basically a prison cell, okay? And we were all interrogated one by one. And he said that basically when my turn came, basically I didn't speak to them, obviously, because generally like here you say no comment and so forth, so I wouldn't accept, to speak to them. And he said that basically the officer said, you're not in the UK. He said basically, taking his private part side, he said, I'll F you, basically, if you don't speak. So, and basically he said that they beat him quite badly. And his comment was, he said, Wallahi. Wallahi means, it's like an oath, say, I'm not lying, meaning by God, that I feel shy to describe to you what they did to me, basically. These were his exact words. I feel shy to describe what they did to me, basically.
Did he tell you that he was physically and sexually assaulted?
He told me he was physically assaulted. He told me he was sexually threatened. And he indicated, from what I know of him, when he said, I couldn't, I feel ashamed to tell you what happened to me. As far as I understand that, it's sexual abuse, because there's nothing he will feel shy to tell me about except that.
I believe that at the time of his arrest, Adebolajo viewed countries under Islamic law as almost utopian societies, where he would find what he had been looking for in Britain. This would indicate that at this time he had very strong religious beliefs, but he wasn't violent, preferring to move away from conflict rather than tackle it. I believe he was abused when he was arrested, and the trauma, shame and sense of injustice carried afterwards pushed him towards murdering Lee Rigby. Furthermore, his family and friends claim that the British government offered little help whilst he was in Kenya, and upon arrival in Britain harassed him. The role of the British government played is unclear, but what is important is that if Adebolajo believes that they were complicit in his suffering, then it would only serve as extra motivation towards violence. I think there is evidence to support this narrative in the murder and surrounding events, firstly in his choice of victim and method of murder.
Whilst waiting to find a soldier, because between us we decided that the soldier is the most fair target, because he joins the army with kind of an understanding that your life is at risk when you join the army,
I don't believe he expected to live. Instead, the attack was an attempt at suicide. Why wait until the police arrived, attacking no one in the meantime, and then attacking the police, who will obviously be armed? Of course, none of this legitimizes what he did even in the slightest, but it is not as black and white as the main cultural discourse seems to believe. I don't believe that Adebolajo was inherently evil, or that he was corrupted by an evil doctrine. Hopefully, if we understand the factors which really influence the attack, then we can do something to stop future attacks.